The Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's. Delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Yes, we are back here, Simtrack Broadcasting, coming to you live with the Doghouse Racing League. We are looking at a wonderful 1.5-mile track, one of my absolute favorites to be here on the iRacing circuit, Charlotte Motor Speedway. And so many different options we can take out here on this track with the tunnel turn coming out of 4, the interesting pit road entry, the fast exit on the exit of 2, the ever so critical entry of 1. I mean, there is not one aspect of this track that is not absolutely nail-biting all the way around, and I'm so glad to be joined here by Douglas Ross. And man, we are looking here for a wild race tonight. 120 laps of pure just madness out here. Talk to me a little bit about some different things that we might have some trouble with here tonight.
Trouble with we're going to have to keep an eye on is definitely the corners coming into the entrance and everything. But basically, as of right now, with the sun going down, the track is going to be really, really cooling off, which means these cars are going to be going a lot faster than they were into the daytime. And right now, we're already seeing it in these qualifying times. These guys are out there cruising.
Yeah, that they are, and already taking a look at a couple of drivers out there. Gary Armijo, we're taking a look at right now, sporting the 20 Toyota out there. Right now, sitting 11th. He's got to pick up a little more pace to see if he can squeeze out a little more time. He's been having a little bit of trouble with that car out here tonight, but he is not the only one. Even having chats with some of our top guys on the leaderboard, they have been having trouble all night, saying the cars just feel super tight, unable to get them under control, and it's just one thing you don't want heading into this track. Are guys sliding up the track, trying to see if they can battle for any sort of room. And the tighter it gets on the exit of turn 4, where are these guys going to go? They've got to play nice. They've got to toss it up between each other. And here we are looking at Kevin Thompson. Looks like he's rocking the old Mark Martin scheme and the number 21 Ford, the Valvoline machine, looking good. I like it out there. Right now, he moves himself up to 4th. Let's take a quick look at our leaderboard. Up there on top, no surprise, Jonathan Jennings sitting on top of the 91 Chevrolet, and Twisted Axle Racing bringing Andrew St. Cour out there, which B-Mac, yeah, special shout out there. You see him, top of the chart, sitting 2nd, and that bringing Chris Leftwich here for the number 13 Chevrolet. So Chevy, Ford, Chevy, 1, 2, and 3. And it's going to be really a blast here, as I've got a couple of drivers still trying to get a couple of their laps down. Bobby Goodwin and Dylan Goodwin both trying to get some laps onto the track. Dylan Goodwin just slides into that 15th position. We got one more guy trying to get it. Bobby Goodwin here for the final turn. And where does he end up? Sitting 18th? 12th. Not too shabby. So that at least moves him up, slices at least 6 more drivers off, moving him up. This is going to be an interesting race. Already Patience out there saying, Charlotte, this should be a fun one. Yes, especially with the Doghouse Racing League. These open setups are so critical. Definitely plenty of opportunities. Where can they go, and how can they handle this track? Douglas, this is going to be the one, man. I've been waiting for this one just about all year.
I tell you what, Charlotte is actually personally one of my favorite tracks, and you're probably wondering, why is it my favorite track? Because it's right here in the heart of the racing state, Charlotte, North Carolina. That is why it's one of my personal favorites.
Oh, yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina. I would say many, many races and many things have been held here. You know, so many different records. We look at Jimmy Johnson and his records out here. If you remember the T-Rex car from the All-Star race that Jeff Gordon had. I mean, just so many different things. I mean, let's talk about throwing it back to the 2004 race. That race didn't even make it to turn 1, and it collected at least 5 cars. And now, I don't know, some may not remember that far back, but Greg Biffle totaled out before he reached turn 1. Looks like he got bumped in the back by Andretti, and that ended up ruining his entire night, and he really needed a great race to kick that one off. But unfortunately, that did not go well for him in the 04 race. So let's go ahead and start on our starting grid here for tonight. Jonathan Jennings and Andrew St. Cour will be starting in row number 1. Chris Leftwich sitting 3rd next to Kevin Thompson. Notice how Twisted Axle Racing starting to clump up here toward the top. That's good. Joey Beck, our last week's winner, sitting 5th with next to Jacob Reeves with the McConey setup shop machine. He'll be starting 6th. Mike Samias 7th with Christopher Simon. Not too bad. Shoney's Racing showing up here tonight. Now we got a 3rd. We got somebody sitting in 8th. Let's keep it going. Kevin Powell, actually a really low qualifying time here for the number 93. Will be starting 9th. Next to Daniel Wilkerson, the man, the myth. He's getting it done. Let's see if he can fight his way up, but a top 10 start should be good for the Loud Pedal Racing driver. Gary Clune will be 11th next to Bobby Goodwin. We saw him his final lap there during qualifying. That pulls us to Nicholas Atwood and Gary Armijo starting in row number 7. Starting row number 8 now is going to be Bill Gentry and Dylan Goodwin, followed by Tim Henderson and Eddie Rivers. Now, I've been told I am pronouncing it wrong, but it's going to be Nate Orlowski there in the 19, and Stephen Buonamo will be starting 20th. 20 drivers out here on the track. A mile and a half, I could probably say they've got plenty of room to race, but I beg to differ. There isn't an inch to spare, and I think even the landscaping crew who normally fix the infield here, they're going to be have a lot of work after this race.
Definitely a lot of work after this race, and just this, Patrick, this is why I love actually hosting this in particular league, because these guys, no matter where they go, they know how to put on a very, very good race. And with this being at Charlotte, this is going to be playing really interesting tonight to see who gets this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got some people have already thrown a little money toward Jonathan Jennings. If anybody remembers back, Andrew St. Cour actually sandbagged this one a little bit for a little bit of long run speed, so the number 12. So I've already called out 1 and 2. We're looking very, very fast out here tonight. But something tells me that guy's sitting all the way there in the back in 9th position, Kevin Powell. Something tells me he's got a little fight left here, and I'm a little interested to see him starting so low. I mean, we normally seen him starting in that top 5 position, but not now. He's all the way back here in 9th. So a couple more drivers he's got to fight on through, but he has a heavy field here, Douglas, and it's going to be really a tough one to see if they can battle this one along. Pace car lights are off. We got Barney in the booth. See if we can let this one rip here, Douglas.
Pace car has pulled off into the infield. Green flag is in the air, and we are going racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah, Andrew St. Croix gets a great jump on the outside line. Jonathan Jennings looks like he sidesteps it a little bit here and loses his spot immediately. St. Croix off by 3, now 4 car lengths as they head through turn number 2. Down the backstretch, Jonathan Jennings now making up a boatload of time. Draft kicking in now. Jonathan Jennings, fresh air, bottom line, taking it back. He now has the lead back under his wing as now Andrew St. Croix is going to have to chase along here. Jennings a little slow on the start, but he is not letting that affect him at all here as now he leads lap number 1.
Andrew St. Croix is right now hanging back in spot number 2, but he is all over the back bumper of Jonathan Jennings as he is right now going into the turn, backing off a little bit, but it's a good thing just to keep your momentum going where you're at right now. Stay in spot number 2, watch where he's going. Jatofi makes a mistake. Right behind him is Kevin Thompson in the 21. Then we got Christopher Leftwich in spot number 4, and Jacob Reeves rounds out spot number 5.
Yeah, I like how you bring up Jacob Reeves. He's moved up 1 position here, sitting now in that 5th, trying to see if he can fight back up. But remember I said, keep an eye out for Kevin Powell. Already moved from 9th to 6th. 3 spots gained already in the first part of this race as he continues to charge along here. Joey Beck has lost a couple. Gary Clune has picked up 3. And Nate Orlowski, he's already moving up 5 positions for him. But that's all the way back here in that 14th position. How do you keep calm here when you have so much more field to fight and so many strong drivers in that top 10 mark?
It's just really all about keeping patience. I mean, we're already only 4 laps in. It's a long way to go. And you just got to just keep the momentum going as possible. But I can tell you right now, one driver in particular that I'm seeing right now that is probably having not most of the patience is the guy sitting in spot number 14 right now, which is Christopher Simon.
Going through here, taking a look at Christopher Simon. You mentioned he's 14th, drops now down to 15th. Stephen Buonamo in his Chevrolet is going to try to overtake that Toyota here in just a moment. But we are all the way back here in the back, unfortunately, where some of these other drivers just trying to see if they can figure out their setup here tonight. Now, I wouldn't count any of these guys out. One caution could end up flipping the script here. A couple of others could be having other kinds of trouble. But speaking of trouble, Bobby Goodwin and Dylan Goodwin both down pit road. We may see a couple of guys actually heading out for the night. I know there is definitely some trouble here in the northeast with some storms having outside, so maybe a loss of connection for the both of the Goodwins, and that's really sad to see the number 88 and the 51 already down pit so early into this race. But moving on back up front, right now looking to see if Jonathan Jennings can pull away from St. Croix. He is, but St. Croix looking to see if he can get a little help from Kevin Thompson here to get a little push up. That way they don't fall so far back. But I've got to admit, at least 2 green flag pit stops will need to be made here tonight to make it on fuel. So what happens? How do these guys? And right now is Jonathan Jennings pushing too hard here in the front because the gearing is all of, is the entirety of this race. If he's got that gearing too high, he may be taking off here and shred off 2 laps that he would desperately need toward the end of this race.
Definitely I can tell you this. You mentioned green flag pit stops. I was actually a part of a couple of races where you do have to get involved in green flag pit stops. But if you end up having 1 caution, it could end up ruining the whole entire momentum of your race. Because 1 or 2 cautions can majorly change your strategy for the whole entire race.
110%. Starting midway through lap 8 of the Team Shoney's 180 here tonight. Charlotte Motor Speedway getting plenty of work here. Speaking of work, we are watching Jacob Reeves down on the bottom as Kevin Powell looks to pick up another position here, now breaking into the top 5. Jacob Reeves has spent a little bit of time trying to get that car squared away here for tonight. But these next gens are a little bit tricky as the track seems to change up just a little bit here and there, back and forth, trying to get these cars settled down as the rubber builds up onto the track. We have seen so many drivers been able to flip the script here. So as much moving as we see around, I mean, drivers like Stephen Buonamo, who's moved up 6 positions and that's sitting 14th, but we've also seen Christopher Simon dropping down 10th here. I mean, Mike Samia's dropped down a couple, Joey Beck's dropped down a couple, and Bill Gentry has moved up 4. So a lot of these guys may have speed earlier here in the run, and then it may fall off much later. So Kevin Powell looking to see if he can break into the 4th position as he's battling alongside Chris Leftwich. And Douglas, this is looking pretty solid here.
It's definitely looking pretty solid as Kevin Powell looks like he is trying to get that number 4 spot as he is right now going to the inside of the 13 of Christopher Leftwich off the corner. Doesn't really look like it, though, that he's going to clear him. Leftwich has a little bit of a momentum coming on the outside.
Yeah, outside line will be the favored one as he keeps there. It almost looks like he was nervous of the contact. That is going to immediately lose him that position. He's going to have to figure out if he can file in before Jacob Reeves. He does. Jacob Reeves goes ahead and lets him in, but Reeves, you can tell he's kind of poking around a little bit, not happy about all that dirty air here in the back. So the 57 Chevrolet of Jacob Reeves is now fallen out of the top 5 here as Kevin Powell and Chris Leftwich have been battling along here. So can Kevin Powell reach up and grab his brother that's in the lead? But he's got 2 Twisted Axle Racing drivers not looking to give up an inch as Andrew St. Coeur is picking up the pace. He has now left his teammate by 0.4 of a second here, and I'm wondering if this is that late run speed we're looking for. A little bit of extra air into the nose of that machine, down to the bottom. Now it's Ford versus Chevy. Andrew St. Coeur now on the bottom, trying to see if he can stick it close to the line. Gives that paint just a little touch here, and now he's got him by a fender. What can Jonathan Jennings do is he's going to lead another lap here. Jonathan Jennings on the outside. Andrew St. Coeur going to try to rub up just a little bit closer, and he's got him. But Jonathan Jennings here, Douglas, has got just the bumper on him, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to rotate up as we file down the backstretch.
He's not going to be able to rotate really, and that is why that outside line here at Charlotte can end up playing dividends when it comes to a driver, and that is the amazing run that you get coming off of the exit of no matter what corner you go into, because whether you go into 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, that outside line can end up making the difference on tonight's race.
Number 12, Watson Ford, seeing if he can slice around the number 91 here. He's having a little bit of trouble. Just can't seem to shake him here. Right now, Jonathan Jennings doing a fantastic job. Notice how the entirety of his leading time has been about middle, if not 3/4 of the way up the track. So a little tire savings, a little fuel savings, and right now Andrew St. Coeur may be really putting a lot of pressure on that right side tires to see if he can pass Jonathan Jennings here. But we are up to at least 4 laps so far. These two have been side by side, which is exactly what Kevin Thompson and Kevin Powell want to see sitting 3rd and 4th.
Right now, Kevin Thompson is actually one of the drivers that is getting a good view of that show as he's still spinning back in spot number 3. But Kevin Powell is right behind him, still trying to get into that spot. Not really gaining much momentum, but I think he's trying to get up to the top side a little bit, trying to save maybe a little bit of grip. And also following suit, not too far behind in spot number 5, is Jacob Reeves, but he is losing a little bit of time.
Andrew St. Coeur enjoying about a 2 to 3 car lead here as he passed him on turn number 2 last lap. Beginning lap 16 here is Jonathan Jennings still trying to chase him down. Respectable still, 1/10 lead that Andrew St. Coeur has, but I don't think he's going to be able to shake that 91 machine. Doesn't want to lose the draft, but the battle for 3rd heating up now. Kevin Thompson lost it there for just a moment as Powell shot it into 3, unable to complete the turn, and now it is costing him 5 car lengths now for Kevin Thompson as he splits away from the 93 Monster Energy Chevrolet.
Currently, let's talk about some of our other drivers that are sitting outside of the top 5 that we haven't mentioned yet. Joey Beck is currently sitting right now in spot number 6. Gary Clune in spot number 7. Michael Samia sitting back in spot number 8. Then it looks like Daniel Wilkerson will be sitting back in spot number 9. And spot number 10, I think, will belong to Bill Gentry in the 34.
Yeah, not too bad by Bill Gentry. We've talked about him before. Right now, he has a 4-position gain. Right now, as Chris Leftwich has already sliced past him, Chris Leftwich now has that top 10 mark. Trying to see if he can stay on the charge here for the Shoney's Racing team. Shoney's Racing falling off just a hair here, trying to figure out if they can get back on track. I know there's a little bit of trouble as Bill Gentry in the 34 Chevrolet slices back in front of him again. Number 13 machine having a little bit of connection issues, but he's going to be A-OK on the outside for the 13. Now seeing if he can run him down. 34 machine blocking him yet again. So the 13 of Chris Leftwich trying to get back into the top 10, but I think one bad turn and this could be over.
Definitely could be, and the more you see those guys riding those low side tires, you're going to end up seeing the grip level really go away, and that's actually one of the advantages that I think that Jonathan Jennings is doing by running that outside line, is conserving some of his tires, so he's probably maybe getting about a 2 or 3 lap difference on those tires compared to Andrew St. Coeur, who is running the inside. Gary
Clune doing a fantastic job getting around and getting that 8th position. Right now he's trying to move up a little farther as Mike Samia Passed him last lap, now sitting 7th. Not too bad. Samia at least regaining back where he was. Right now he's top of the chart here for the Shoney's Racing team here into the front. St. Cour still holds the lead, followed by Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Thompson. Powell still unable to catch him now, as Powell is now falling off pace. Jacob Reeves falling a little farther than that. So where can these guys end up? Joey Beck, a little bit of connection issues in the number 6 Chevrolet. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little bit of storms out there. Connection problems are going to be oof right there. Again, a little bit of a tumble up here tonight. But let's talk about Daniel Wilkerson. Daniel Wilkerson in the 78 Chevrolet. He's moved up at least one position. He was falling back. You know, he dropped, I believe, down to at least 12th position, but he's fought himself back into the top 10. Is he a late race driver? And is he, you know, maybe he gets some speed a little later on in this run?
Definitely will be, and that can probably even be what the strategy is. I mean, many of these drivers, whether you're in a team or you're out here by yourself, it could be depending on the strategy. Some of these drivers out here probably already have a plan in base before the race started. So we'll just have to wait and see how this goes.
Yeah, noticing some of the drivers out there. Last laps for Cour and Jennings with a 30.5. The rest of the field is doing 30, 80, or more. So the fall back is huge right now for the rest of the field as they now make separation. St. Cour and Jennings ahead of the rest of the field by almost a second and a half. So can they reel the rest of these guys in? Or is this just early run speed? Normally we don't see this from Andrew St. Cour. He either commanding lead, he pulls away from the entire field, or he's a late race bloomer and tries to run everybody down. But let's talk a little bit back with Jacob Reeves and Joey Beck, as it looks like it's starting to heat up. The number 6 Chevrolet not real happy with that Maconi setup shop machine in front of him. And he's going to see if he can fly on around. Entering turn number 2, Douglas looks like he might have it here.
And right there, that outside line that Joey Beck is taking, and it looks like he will grab himself, I think it's the top 5 position, or at least 6, I think.
Yeah, Joey Beck moves to 5th. Jacob Reeves sits down in the 6th position now. Still a couple of drivers trying to see if they can find a little more power under the hood, as we are only 25 laps into this 120 lap race. Jacob Reeves still making it happen here. Drivers who have not changed any positions: Joey Beck, Jacob Reeves, and Mike Samia for 5, 6, and 7. The rest of the field has been shuffling up like a deck of cards here. Andrew St. Cour up 1, Jennings down 1, Thompson up 1, Kevin Powell up 5. That moves us to Clune, who's sitting 8th, who's up 3. Wilkerson has gained a position up to the 9th, and Gary Armijo having a little trouble, but he is still churning along in that Toyota as he gains 4 positions for that top 10 spot.
Right now, it looks like Andrew St. Cour and Jonathan Jennings are gaining more ground ahead of the 21 of Kevin Thompson, as I think Thompson is right now just trying to do the best he can out there, just waiting for the green flag pit stops to come.
I've got to admit, it's pretty awesome to see Kevin Thompson here all by himself. I mean, he's still holding about a 1.5 second gap here, but right now that is Jonathan Jennings in front of him. He's trying to run down, that he is unable to do so. Let's take a look. That is the distance we are seeing as we're riding along with Kevin Thompson here. That is the distance to reach up to Jonathan Jennings, and looking back, that is Kevin Powell. So he is all by his lonesome out here, which he has got to be hating right now, because I guarantee you he would love a little bit of draft help here to see if he could get up to the front and battle at least for a second, if not the lead.
Yes, most definitely. And while we were looking at Kevin Thompson's view, we have a change for the number 4 spot, as it looks like Joey Beck managed to get by Kevin Powell for spot number 4. So now Beck is now finding himself in position number 4.
Yeah, Beck doing a fantastic job here. Just seems to be in the right place at the right time. Now gaining some positions here. He's up another one. And now Kevin Powell drops to 5th. Mike Samia gains another spot as Jacob Reeves, I think he's starting to feel a little bit of tire pain here, drops down to 7th. So he's been losing a few positions, now and then. But he is having he's having a little bit of trouble out there, and I would wonder what kind of adjustments as a driver that you can make to try to, free this car up a little bit. The more this track changes, the more the car adjustments need to change. Is it something of air pressure? Is it something of a slight turn of, they called it wedge, but it'd be a panhard bar change. It's what adjustments can a driver make to try to loosen this car up a little bit and try to free it up so these guys can pick up a little more speed here in the back.
Well, I mean, realistically, the only thing as of right now that these drivers can do is only one of two things. One, yes, they do have the option to change the tire pressures if needed to be. If it is not to their liking, they can do that on the on any pit stop that they end up doing on their strategy. Or probably another basic thing that they can do is just probably just drive a different line and see if it gains more grip.
Yeah, 110%. But you can kind of, it's kind of definitely a trade-off. Either we put on, more speed. Do we back off a little bit? What happens? Right now, Daniel Wilkerson backing off a little bit, allowing Chris Leftwich to get on around for that top 10 spot as he fires around turn 4. Look out. He looks like Wilkerson is just a little bit out of shape there. Coming out of 4, he kind of had a little bit of a tail whip there. But I do want to give kind of a peek there. I know as we don't have our eyes on them. Kevin Thompson in the 21 Ford has picked up almost almost 0.6 of a second on Jonathan Jennings here. He's starting to gain. He was a second and a half behind, and now is picking up pace. So right now, long run speed belongs to Kevin Thompson as he is now reeling them in, and he is within range. Now he's able to reach up there and get it. But a 5-second gap between the lead and Joey Beck is huge, and this may be a runaway race between the three of these drivers.
It probably definitely will be a runaway, and I can actually tell that Kevin Thompson is actually getting a little loose off of the corners, it looks like. So I think that he was probably maybe even trying to conserve grip at all, because if he actually managed to catch that much time, you have to wonder if Andrew St. Cyr and Jonathan Jennings used up the tires way too late. That's causing Kevin Thompson to gain ground.
Yeah, Jennings now falling off by about 0.3 of a second here. He just can't seem to find out how to catch back up. Well, Jennings actually may be sandbagging him. We've seen it before, him hanging back there a little bit, but that is now allowing Kevin Thompson to catch back up. Kevin Thompson gets a little loose here, slides back up the track. A little bit of trouble from that 21 Ford here as he keeps working on this this lead that Andrew St. Cyr has really chomped off. Jonathan Jennings losing time, about 1/10 of a second each lap. Right now, it seems to be everything is pretty calm as Andrew St. Cyr hit a 31:23 last lap and Jonathan Jennings with a 31:28. But fastest on the track right now is Kevin Thompson with a 31:13. So where is he going to end up here? He is now all over Jonathan Jennings' rear bumper and might be taking over second place here, Douglas.
Most definitely, and it looks like he's trying to peek to the inside of Jonathan Jennings. Will he manage to get it done going on the back straightaway? No, they are still racing side by side. Jennings still has a little bit of the edge, but Kevin Thompson, with that amazing run right there, manages to clear him, maybe checks up a little bit just to right there in front of him, and he does going down the front straightaway. Kevin Thompson now finding himself in spot number 2.
Yeah, both red, white, and blue cars battling it out here onto the track. Kevin Thompson sliding up, and we now have 2 Fords sitting 1 and 2, followed by the Chevrolet for these top 3 spots. Joey Beck still trying to hunt for a little more speed as he drops to a 6-second gap onto the lead. You see it just unfortunately get kind of chewed away here, and they're just unable to collect any more speed. But Kevin Powell losing a lot of speed back here as now Jacob Reeves reawakens that Chevrolet and back onto the bottom. Jacob Reeves now slices up front for 6. Now, would there be a little trouble with Gary Clune in the 11 watching the two of these battle? He's having to really make a determination. Inside or outside line, he chooses the center.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And it looked like our drivers were getting really close to the wall, as it looks like Andrew St. Cyr ended up scraping the wall a little bit on the back straightaway. But it looks like it won't affect him really at all, as it doesn't look like much damage has really occurred. But Kevin Thompson is still right now remaining about probably 2 or 3 car lengths behind Andrew St. Cyr right now. And Jonathan Jennings is about the same way, sitting back in spot number 3.
Yeah, Jennings having plenty of room here to catch back up to St. Cyr. St. Cyr is still leading this one. Clune now overtakes Kevin Powell. So Kevin Powell on the march back yet again, back down to 8th. Now, it was pretty impressive to see him move up that many positions early on in the race, but now is it starting to cost him? Gary Clune back under Jacob Reeves again, 5 positions gained as he takes his bid and it goes ahead and takes 6th position away. So right now we are chopping on through. This is pretty impressive by Gary Clune and the Twisted Axle Racing Team sitting 1, 2, and 6 out here on the track as we enter halfway through lap 39.
Definitely, and it looks like some of the strategy play is coming into play. I think the green flag pit stops seem to be coming in now as we have a driver currently on pit road. That's the 34 of Bill Gentry. So it looks like green flag pit stops are at least getting closer, coming into play now.
Oof. Yeah, already somebody coming down pit as well. Jacob Reeves, Kevin Powell, and Gary Armijo working their way down lap 40. So keep in mind, I'm wondering if this is our fuel window 40 laps into this race. So there may be a little switch up here toward the end. I would be interested to see, if we got to split this into threes. They're telling me at least 2 pit stops. But right now, I don't see any sign of any caution opportunities out here, as drivers are doing a fantastic job out here on the track. Drivers down pit: Reeves, Powell, Wilkerson, Armijo, Orlowski, and Stephen Buonamo working their way down. Already Bill Gentry, lap 38, he is fired out of there. And Eddie Rivers looked like he had some trouble earlier in the race. Pit back on lap 28. So maybe a bad adjustment he didn't like, came back down. So who's going to continue on the charge for this one? Is Kevin Thompson now takes over the lead. Now, I don't know what happened to Andrew St. Coeur out there. You see any kind of anything, what happened out there, Douglas?
As of right now, I am backtracking to see what has happened with the lead, and it looks like it happened back on lap 40. Kevin Thompson right now had an amazing run off of the front straightaway and just managed to get past Andrew St. Coeur just in time going into turn 1.
All right, we're going to take a little peek at that run here. Boy, yeah, Kevin Thompson would run here, looking right toward the inside. St. Coeur just backing it on off and allowing his teammate to go on around. But, man, he has really been running him down here as St. Coeur. Fantastic job. But he is going to go ahead and say, you know what? These good years have had enough. Back down to pit road for the first time for him tonight as he drops down to 5th before he can even get to his box here. Just goes to show you how much this mile and a half can switch up this entire field, as only the top 8 drivers are the ones on the lead lap.
Right now, yes, and also with strategy also being in play, you also have to wonder, what will these drivers do during their strategy? Will you take 4 tires or will you take 2 tires? It ends up coming into the play of the strategy, but as of right now, I have a feeling that for this first strategy call, everybody's going to be taking 4 tires.
Yeah, I think 2 tires would be suicide this early into the race. Might be a toss-up there at the end. I know St. Coeur has won a bunch of races on a 2-tire pit stop call. And unfortunately, this would not be the track I would try it at. Kevin Thompson, I've got to admit, has been out on the track for almost, now 45 laps. So he is stretching this one out. Ooh, man. We've already got a little trouble back here with Jonathan Jennings area. Looks like, I think that's the number 54 I see out there. It looked like he was flying through the infield, the 34 machine there of Bill Gentry. Something already happened to him, but I'm not quite sure if he got way loose coming out of that turn or what happened there, but that was not good.
Only a close one indeed. And still keeping an eye on the leader right now, as it looks like, yes, Kevin Thompson will be coming down pit road.
All right, about time here. He's got to get it done. Can't wait much longer out there, but we got Kevin Thompson working his way down and continuing on the race. Kevin Thompson, Jonathan Jennings will assume the lead as soon as he can get around, but he is down pit road as well, leaving Tim Henderson. He is yet to pit. Christopher Simon has yet to pit in the 27 Toyota, so now these guys will be sitting 1 and 2, and Henderson trying to see if he can sneak up one more lap and get 5 points for leading a lap here. So really, is the gamble worth it here, Douglas?
As of right now, the gamble, I wouldn't take the gamble. If you're talking about 2 tires, I wouldn't take the gamble. It's way too early, and just in case, like, even God forbid, if we have a caution coming out on, like, I would say around the lap 100 area, I would say take the chance and take the 2 tires. But as of right now, you are right. Taking 2 tires as of this point would be suicide.
All right. Seeing how the pit stops went. Tim Henderson and Christopher Simon working their way down. Andrew St. Coeur back onto the track. Right now, he'll be followed by Kevin Thompson, but look how far the distance is. Holy cow. This is about to be a huge gap here by Andrew St. Coeur. Fantastic pit stop time. He was in the box for 14.95 seconds, and his lane time was 42.7, putting Kevin Thompson at 43.25 and the pit stall time at a 15.15, which results in a 4.5-second lead by Andrew St. Coeur into the front. And already B-Mac out there in the chat, what is number 12 reversed? The 21. so you can root on Andrew St. Cour and Kevin Thompson out there. Twisted Axle Racing doing an excellent job with all three of their drivers sitting top 10. If they could just get Gary Clune to pick up one more position, all of them would then be into the top 5. But moving on, Andrew St. Cour, Kevin Thompson, and Jonathan Jennings rounding out our top 3.
Yes, indeed. And I'm seeing right now, you're talking about a full straightaway when it comes to the gap between Andrew St. Cour and Kevin Thompson. He definitely hit the mark when it came to the pit stop, and he called it at the right time. So great call by Andrew St. Cour and getting out of it.
Yeah, trying to see if they can think of a couple different strategies that they can do to make up the gap on this track. I know there's a little bit of different strategies out there. We're taking a look at Nate Orlowski sitting, I believe, in the Corn Hub car. Yeah, there he is. Right now he is rolling around back here in that 15th position, up 4 from where he originally started. If he could just stay clean here for the remainder of the race, I think he might have a good finish here. But already getting in a little bit of trouble here with Kevin Thompson. Kevin Thompson trying to get around him here. Jonathan Jennings is next on the list for that 29 machine. Orlowski having a little bit of trouble out there on the track. He probably has a good setup. I just don't know with him pitting on lap 39 a little earlier than everybody else, if this is what we're starting to see is a bit of a tire fall off already by Orlowski trying to hold on as he drops down a lap here. And now he's going to have to see if he can fight back to the front as Andrew St. Cour has already passed. I believe that is Christopher Simon in the 27 Toyota. This is looking pretty wild here. That Gary Armijo is the only Toyota out there still in the lead lap.
Indeed, and even though that Andrew St. Cour is currently running right now in spot number 1, I think the lap times right now are paying dividends when it comes to that. But last time around, it was Jonathan Jennings, I think it was, or no, sorry, excuse me, Kevin Thompson, who was on the fastest lap. But as of right now, it's Andrew St. Cour who is currently running the fastest lap times.
Yeah, right now, a lot of drivers picking up a lot of pace out here. Mike Samia with a 30.19. For a couple of laps out there. He seems to be holding pretty steady. 30.20 now for Joey Beck. Beck picking up the pace. And Andrew St. Cour still staying solid with a 30.17. So can he continue on this roll here as that lead has now picked up to a 5-second gap? Right now, St. Cour has got to be happy with this. This might be the make or break of the race. When you've got a gap this large here into the front, some of these guys may have to take 2 tires, and Andrew St. Cour will not. He'll be able to spend that extra time getting 4 tires and then be side by side with the advantage.
Most definitely. And while we're talking about that, the battle is heating up for spot number 2 as Jonathan Jennings looks like he has caught Kevin Thompson. And right now, it seems like they got a 2 or 3 car breakaway, but Jonathan Jennings has found Kevin Thompson, as it looks like the battle will be heating up soon for spot number 2.
Yeah, you couldn't be any more right than that, as Jennings has been definitely slicing off the front stretch there, being able to make a good catch up here to Kevin Thompson. But remember how Kevin Thompson was in the last stint. Picked up a huge amount of time, so I don't really count him out here for that 5-second gap that he has to Andrew St. Cour. He made up over 3.5 seconds to take the lead and then pull away. So right now, Jonathan Jennings has got to be scratching his head with his teammates, wondering what the Twisted Axle Racing team has got up their sleeve. Already back out there to the chat. Looks like Chuck Fletcher is out there. Glad to see you, Chuck. Appreciate you joining us here tonight. We are looking at 55 laps here for the Team Shoney's 180 here at Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course, Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of our favorite tracks, both of us here in the booth, and I couldn't be more pleased to bring you the Doghouse Racing League. Guys, if you're looking to join the league, you can find them up on Facebook or the doghouseracingle.com. Of course, that's where you can find them. Join the league, find out a little bit about them, read the race rules, and try to see if you can put your car out here and get that sim fired up. Definitely probably blow the dust off. Hopefully not, though. Get it going again.
As of right now, Andrew St. Cour still expanding his lead. Almost about, I think it's still a 5-second gap ahead of Kevin Thompson. Jonathan Jennings is still currently sitting back in spot number 3. Let's try to backtrack a little bit more where some of our other placers are. Spot number 4 is being surrounded by Jacob Reeves. Kevin Powell sitting in spot number 5. Gary Clune sitting in spot number 6. Joey Beck sitting in spot number 7. Michael Samia sitting in spot 8. Daniel Wilkerson will be sitting at spot number 9, and Gary Armijo will be rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, a couple of drivers getting ready to make a pass here pretty soon. Mike Samia and Joey Beck. These two going at it, the 6 and the number 3 here. Both Chevrolets trying to give it their all as they try to fire through this turn. Look at how Mike Samia holds that car in one place as he touches down on the paint. Little bit of a glitch here. Oh, man. You know, I would probably say if there's going to be a caution, this might be right here. Joey Beck really blinking out at a terrible time. Hopefully Mike Samia has communication over the radio telling him, hey, man, I can't find you. But while he blinks out. But if there is an issue, drivers will drop back to the back of the pack, and they'll actually be fighting up or have to give the position up. But Beck, strong drive here tonight as he's unfortunately lost 2 positions, dropping down to 7th. So he's got to get at least around Gary Clune and Kevin Powell to get back where he originally started this race. But Mike Samia making that bid for the position he had before, dives it in, slices underneath the number 6 of Joey Beck, and now has a 2.5, 3, now almost 4 car lead here as Mike Samia gets 7th position in front of Joey Beck. Now back to Daniel Wilkerson. Douglas, this is looking pretty good here in the back for the battle for 9th.
Daniel Wilkerson is right now sitting in spot number 9, but right behind him is Gary Armijo right now trying to put on the pressure, trying to get to the back of that car. Currently on the front straightaway going into turn 1. It looks like Wilkerson will try to stay on the outside, hopefully get that run. But here comes Gary Armijo with a big, humongous run onto the inside. He manages to make it stick. Gary Armijo finds himself in spot number 9.
Yeah, not too bad there by Gary Armijo. Hopefully it's not short-lived here as his 5 positions gained are paying off. He digs himself a little farther into the top 10. Moving on up to the front. I know we've looked at a lot of front drivers up here, but we're trying to find some of these guys who are the closest out here on the track. Right now we're taking a look at Kevin Thompson and Jonathan Jennings. Looks like Jennings backs it off just a hair here. But Gary Armijo and it looks like Daniel Wilkerson, there's got to be a little something going on here because I'm wondering where Chris Leftwich is. He's dropped back by about half a second. Leftwich looked like he had a solid run going on there. In the number 13 Shoney Chevrolet, backs it off just a little bit, and maybe he's trying to tire conserve. I can't blame him as we break past the halfway point of this race. This is looking pretty great right about now as we are absolutely cautionless halfway through this race.
Yes, it definitely is right now very good that we have remained cautionless through this entire race. Very, very good job by these guys just keeping it clean racing. And you were talking about Christopher Leftwich. He is sitting back in spot number 11 right now, trying to gain a little bit of ground and try to get to the 78 of Daniel Wilkerson. And right now, it seems like everybody is pretty much single filed out as it's still a big battle going on for second place between Kevin Thompson and Jonathan Jennings. They're not backing off of each other an ounce bit.
No, absolutely not. But I think Jennings is sitting back trying to figure out what Kevin Thompson is doing. The line he took before was the winning line. Remember, we were about 5 seconds off. Kevin Thompson now kicking an overdrive here as he sliced off a second off of Andrew St. Cour's lead. I don't know if any pit strategy may have anything to do with it. St. Cour did pit back on lap 42, and Kevin Thompson pit on lap 45. So him stretching that pit window here might really pay off. As if you consider right now, St. Cour has to stretch almost 5 to 6 extra laps out there so he can hit this fuel mark. If not, he may have to come down a 3rd time in the pit to get fuel, and that would make or break to his race here tonight, as I believe, you know, this is going to be as close as it can get. I can't tell, but it looks like we got trouble here on the backstretch.
Oh, very, very good save by Kevin Thompson, keeping that car from spinning out. Good job by keeping the save, but that has lost him a ton of momentum, as right now he is sitting back in spot number 3. So now Jonathan Jennings will now find himself into the number 2 spot. But it looks like that they will lose a lot of ground after that spin.
All right, I don't think Kevin Powell is going to take a peek at him for a little bit as he tries to get back. Let's take a little look at it over top. What happened here? It looked like the 91, Jonathan Jennings. Oh, no. The number 21 got loose.
Got really loose.
Not bad. I mean, like you were saying, fantastic save. So right now, Kevin Thompson living the fight another day. And I got to admit, I would much rather lose 2 seconds and not total my car and have another chance to take a bite out of this lead. But Jonathan Jennings, this is really impressive. Notice that time here up at the top. Jonathan Jennings starting to really, he's starting to really roll here. He's starting to trying to get caught up to Andrew St. Croix as he's now almost 2.5 seconds and less.
Yes, absolutely. And even when they were still together, when Kevin Thompson and Jonathan Jennings were together, they were actually getting a little bit of draft together, because when they were on the front straightaway, Andrew St. Croix was only picking up 182 miles an hour going into turn one. Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Thompson, they were reaching speeds of almost 185 to 186 miles an hour. So even though we actually don't really see drafting here on these in particular tracks, you normally see them on super speedways, that little bit of drafting help can help you pick up a couple miles an hour, and really help you gain some precious ground that you lost.
Yeah, unfortunately, Andrew St. Croix, I believe he was trying to draft a little bit there, but he got into, looked like behind the number 34, Bill Gentry, and it actually checked him up a little bit here. He's lost a good amount of time as the lead has been cut to less than 2 seconds. Jennings really, really pouring it on here as he fires through turn number 3. Lap 69 heading to 70 here. Right now, I guarantee you, if he keeps up this pace, he'll be leading this race around that lap 90 mark. But once again, pit window. No, right now, if they pit the exact same time, Andrew St. Croix will be coming down pit on lap 84. And will that, shuffle up the rest of the field? Because right now, St. Croix may have to wait it out longer than that to see if he can find out if he can make it to the end of this race. I would be petrified he will be unable to. But battle heating up once again back here with Gary Clune and Joey Beck. Beck has been waiting for this moment now as Clune stays on the bottom, back toward the top, and they're seeing if they can fight this out heading into turn 3. 11 touching, almost getting down, touching the paint there a little bit. Number 6 of Joey Beck has the fender on him. Now half the car, but now Clune back to the inside. And remember, I was talking about that landscaping crew. We'll see if there's a little touch, and there's not. Looks like Clune is trying to hold it here. Good job rotating up and almost giving that 6 a touch there, give him something to think about. Keep him there toward the top side where his car might get a little too tight on the turn exit. Now what does Clune do? Clune trying to fire on through. Notice how he's staying in the clean air. He did not fall in behind him, and that may give Clune a little bit of the run. Clune getting way tight as he rotates up. Joey Beck looks like he's got a little bit of Gary Clune's Ford paint on the outside, on the inside of his car, and that allows Beck to get away. So good battle here, back for the 7th position.
Definitely a good battle for the 7th position with Joey Beck and Gary Clune. Great job by racing with those guys. But now I want to get back to the battle for spot number 1, as the gap has shortened even more. We are only talking about 0.8 of a second between Jonathan Jennings and Andrew St. Croix, as Jennings is right now narrowing down that gap every single lap. I bet you next time around we're going to be seeing a new leader here, Patrick.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Right now, Jonathan Jennings has been picking up huge amounts of time, slicing off at least 0.3 of a second per lap as he's reeling in Andrew St. Croix. As soon as he can get the draft here, I think he might have him. And right now, St. Croix has got to be scratching his head going, man, all right, well, that pit stop didn't work. Whatever Jennings has changed, we thought Jennings wasn't going to make it. 5.5 seconds off pace, reeling him in, now less than 0.4 of a second. So right now, we are looking at this lead from about 8 car lengths, now 7, down to almost 6. So this is looking pretty solid here for Jonathan Jennings. So if you're Andrew St. Croix, do you block?
No, I wouldn't recommend blocking, especially if you're on really, really older tires and Jonathan Jennings has the run. I wouldn't recommend blocking.
All right, well, looks like Jonathan Jennings is going to take the outside line, trying to see if he can fire on around here. Looks like Andrew St. Croix trying not to do the same thing his teammate did, touching the paint down there and getting loose. Battle for the lead underway. Right now, Jonathan Jennings has got the nose on him, but Andrew St. Croix decides not to ride him up the track. Really gutsy move here, not to see Andrew St. Croix press it on here. I would want to give him a little something to think about. Ride him up that track a little bit, push him a little closer to the wall. But I think Jennings would love to make a little contact and kind of spice this up a little bit. But as Andrew St. Croix tries to fire into turn 1, gets a huge run here, but it doesn't look like he's got the tires to hold it. Andrew St. Croix decides to fire behind, unlike Gary Clune, and slice back in front. So what happens to Andrew St. Croix here? Can he regain the lead? I say no. He's got to go ahead and get tires on this race car.
Yes, most definitely, and we're probably going to be in that range where we will be seeing the next round of green flag pit stops probably come sometime between lap 80 and 85, as Jonathan Jennings is right now gaining ground on Andrew Sancour, and not too far behind, probably about 2.5 to 3 seconds back, is Kevin Thompson in the 21, still holding on to a podium.
Yeah, he's trying to give it a little something going on here. Pit stop for Bill Gentry. He's on his way down pit now. Keep in mind that the drivers only have 3 sets of tires down the pit. So if they come down and take one more, that'll be the final set of tires, and they're going to have to figure it out all the way to the end. I believe this is going to be quite a race. I've noticed it's been about fuel economy, but as Andrew St. Cour showed us, it is about tire strategy, and right now Jonathan Jennings is making it happen here. So far, so good. Let's see if Jonathan Jennings can lead the most laps here of the race. As Andrew St. Cour, at least he'll led himself a solid chunk here into the front. Tim Henderson working his way down pit. So the driver in the 12th spot will be working his way down. Barney definitely making sure everybody's staying pretty solid out here. No other trouble out there on the track. But, man, you want to talk about spread out. There are drivers all over this track, and just doesn't seem to be anybody looking they're going to be reaching out and getting each other.
It's definitely not, and that's pretty much, like you said, the whole entire track. Every car is pretty much evenly spaced out, I think going all the way back to almost close to the top 10 at least. But going back to the strategy, you have to even wonder, do these top 3 drivers have a different strategy in play, especially Andrew St. Cour? He probably knows that 40 laps on tires is going to be like really, really cutting it close. So you have to wonder, we're estimating that he's probably going to pit around lap 84. You have to wonder, with the second strategy, do you think these drivers might be trying to play it out longer so that way they have fresher stuff coming out of the second strategy? As I'm guessing wrong, because Andrew St. Cour is coming down pit road now.
Yeah, Andrew St. Cour deciding to pit early. Gary Armijo and Daniel Wilkerson, Kevin Powell doing the exact same thing. Down pit road they come. So Andrew St. Cour has kind of said, you know what, man, I am falling off pace. There's no sense in continuing here. Best time with a 30.15. Last time by was 2.5 seconds slower. So, yeah, I might as well throw in the towel, go ahead and get some rubber back onto that car and get back out onto the track. Right now, I guarantee a B-Mac out there is really gripping the edge of the seat. Taking a look, Catalina Salas out there saying, let's go, my love, Christopher Simon. Right now in the number 27 machine, Christopher Simon, with these drivers pitting, has now slid himself into the 7th position. But can his Toyota hold out? I know he's been having a little bit of a tough race here tonight. Just doesn't seem to have enough speed underneath that car. His fastest time was a 30.66. Last time was a 31.33. Not too shabby. Man, he's got to figure out how to get some speed. And I'm wondering if a little tire pressure adjustment might be in range for him when he comes down pit.
Most definitely. And as we're talking about pitting, we have Kevin Thompson coming down pit road now. Still no signs of coming down pit road for our leader, Jonathan Jennings, as we have to even wonder, when is he going to come down for his strategy? We already have the top 3 drivers that were battling out for most of the night right now, doing all their pit strategies, as we're getting the guess right now because Jonathan Jennings is coming down pit road.
Yep, that he is. Jonathan Jennings working his way down. Gary Clune will be next. I don't think Clune may be pitting this time by. Clune might try to stay out onto the track. He last pit on lap 40, so he might be able to kind of tick off a lead lap here, but I don't think so, as Clune has got to make up a boatload of time to get caught back up here. Jennings is now working his way into the pit box. Gets that number 1 pit stall here. He's going to have a time of really a heck of a time here, trying to see if he can get back out onto the track with at least a decent amount of time to recover. Gary Clune now held in the front in the number 11. Ford, Christopher Simon still stays out in the number 27, and Andrew St. Cour. I've got to admit, his pit strategy may be a thing, may be a beauty here, as he has got to really put on the pressure. So now, does Andrew St. Cour take it easy here, as we saw how both Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Thompson were both reeling him in later on in this run?
Most definitely. And I can tell you right now, Jonathan Jennings just came off pit road right now, and Andrew St. Cour, he gained like almost no ground just trying to get away from Jonathan Jennings. So Jennings did something off of pit road that really, really helped him out with that second pit stop strategy. I think Jonathan Jennings is sitting in good shape right now for this last leg of the run.
Gary Clune, our race leader, working his way down pit road. Christopher Simon may be hanging out there. We'll keep an eye out for that. Jonathan Jennings, it is notably faster down pit lane. He was, actually down pit road in his stall. He was half a second faster than Andrew St. Cour. Not quite sure if there was a little different adjustment, if he took a little less fuel or whatnot, but man, he got a 15:05, and an Andrew St. Cour got a 15:48. So right now that could be huge, as Andrew St. Cour once again has a mirror full of Jonathan Jennings here, and he's got to try to scamper away to get away from him. Or does he sit back and try to long run race him? This is definitely a great race here. And Michael Stanzel saying, let's go Kevin in the number 93 Chevrolet. Right now he's sitting 5th. Good pit stop for him, but I don't know if he'll be able to catch Kevin Thompson. The battle for the lead is now heating up.
Look at the battle for the number 1 spot. Jonathan Jennings looks to the inside of Andrew St. Cour. Right now, side-by-side action going into turn number 2. St. Cour has got the edge, but Jonathan Jennings, he will get that run onto the outside lane, and it looks like going into spot number 3, he might have it, but here comes St. Cour, still fighting back, trying not to lose that number 1 spot, trying not to let Jennings go. Jennings scrapes the wall a little bit, but it looks like he will clear him coming down the front straightaway. Jonathan Jennings finds himself back in spot number 1.
Race leader Christopher Simon working his way down pit road now. Jennings now assumes the lead. Andrew St. Cour has got to figure out something if he can offset. So can the Canadian from the Twisted Axle Racing team chase down Jonathan Jennings in the 91 Chevrolet? We'll have to see, but it looks like everything is calming down here. And we're going to cut to commercial, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. The Doghouse Cup Series is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of our West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you hanging out there for a shout-out from our sponsors. I believe you guys were able to catch down in there in the bottom left that Kevin Powell has now been overtaken by Jacob Reeves. Reeves seeming to have a fast run here tonight as he moves up 2 positions from his original start here tonight, sitting 4th. So 2 Chevrolets battling it out here tonight. Really, where are they going to end up as Reeves spends some time getting the split and the breakaway here? Joey Beck now to 8th. And Beck is having a little bit of trouble here, seeing if he can run down Clune, Tim Henderson, and Wilkerson. There we go. That's the battle I'm looking for, to see if Daniel Wilkerson can get around that number 4 once and for all. Right now, it seems that Tim Henderson has been a thorn in his side here for the past few laps. Daniel Wilkerson wants to break away, and that Dell machine gets a little loose coming through, looks like 3 and 4, and he's now firing down the front stretch. But the outside line here, Douglas, watch it pay off. I don't know if Daniel Wilkerson knows he's coming, but now the battle heats up and continues on with Henderson on the bottom.
Henderson is definitely keeping a good job keeping that outside lane. And while you're actually watching that, I'm actually watching what's going on up here into the front, because I actually do want to know. Jonathan Jennings and Andrew St. Cour are right now doing a good job holding the number 1 and 2 spot, but we also have to note The man who currently has the fastest lap out of anybody on the field is currently sitting in spot number 3 and gaining ground on our top 2 positions. That man is Kevin Thompson in the number 21.
Right now, Kevin Thompson kind of sitting back on this one. I think he's getting ready to turn it up. I would probably say watch for him about lap 105 is when he's really going to pour on the coal and see if he can reel them in. He is in a favorable 1 second behind and closing as he's catching up with Jonathan Jennings. But the speed we saw out of Jonathan Jennings' last stint, I would have to say right now, the 91 and the 21 are going to be our favorites here to take this one away. St. Croix, unfortunately, falling off by about half a second here. Unable to reel Jonathan Jennings back in, but then maybe they're just sitting back. I'm hoping maybe there's going to be a little tumble up here later on in the run. But we are sitting with Jennings, Croix, St. Croix, Kevin Thompson, Jacob Reeves, Kevin Pell, 1 through 5.
Lap traffic is right now going to be probably playing into favor for the second and third position, as right now Jonathan Jennings will be approaching lap traffic. That will be the 4 of Tim Henderson, the 20 of Gary Armijo, and Daniel Wilkerson in the 78 will probably be playing dividends.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Tim Henderson burned up the tires here and having a little trouble. We just watched not but 4 laps ago him battling along with Daniel Wilkerson. But Henderson has been loose as of late trying to come off these turns. And I got to admit, real hats off to Tim Henderson here, as unfortunately it looks like he will be going a lap down. 91 machine trying to see if he can slice around him here. Number 4, getting out of the way, not too bad. Good sportsmanship there by Tim Henderson, as it looks like Jonathan Jennings is going to go and slice on through. No trouble from the lap traffic here. So who's got a little more? I think Kevin Powell. I think he's kind of setting up Jacob Reeves here with less than 23 laps to go.
23 laps to go, and we actually do have a change for the second place. Kevin Thompson is now finding himself in spot number 2. Andrew St. Croix is falling back a little bit. So now the question is, will Kevin Thompson have enough time to catch Jonathan Jennings with about 20 laps to go?
Yeah, if an oddball caution came out with about 20 laps to go, I could probably guarantee you Andrew St. Croix is going to come in with tires, and so will Kevin Thompson. And both of them will blast this field away with just absolutely no remorse as they're going to fly on through. But that is very, very unusual to see here at the Doghouse Racing League, as Kevin Thompson now is in second. Jonathan Jennings trying to run away, as you notice. Up there kind of time-wise, Kevin Thompson is falling off a little bit. Jennings now starting to pull away. So really, is this going to play into effect a little later on? Now, remember what I was talking about. Kevin Powell setting up Reeves, and he does. Powell moves up to 4th, so not too shabby. 93 Chevrolet has always got a little extra ace up his sleeve here as he slides up one more position to continue on the charge here for the for the points championship, which let's take a little peek at that while we have a moment. Andrew St. Croix is leading this one with 515. Kevin Thompson is sitting with 499, and Christopher Simon is sitting 3rd, so not too bad here by all our drivers. Jennings surprisingly is down in that 7th position. He's got some work to do to fly on up there, but a win here tonight would definitely work in his favor here tonight. Joey Beck sits 20th position with his win last week, so that puts him at least on the board and alive out there. But this race is really chalking up to be a pretty good one here. I noticed Daniel Wilkerson has now gone a lap down, as it looks like Kevin Thompson now trying to floss around the number 20 of Gary Armijo. So what does Kevin Thompson do as he tries to fly through the rest of this field? I'm not so sure, as 19 laps left to go. Douglas, man, what is there anything that can go wrong here?
The only thing that I can really see going wrong is a caution coming out, playing the difference for this race, because definitely if a caution is going to come out this late, especially after I said in the beginning, around lap 100, normally it's going to play a big difference if the caution comes out. It's going to be a game changer.
110% watching Kevin Thompson work his way around Daniel Wilkerson now. He has got to make up 1.5 seconds with 18 laps left to go. Time is ticking away. Right now, Andrew St. Croix now trying to slice underneath Daniel Wilkerson. And Wilkerson not doing too bad of a job here tonight. Still respectable 9th position. But our hardest charger here of the race, up 6, is Tim Henderson, who is now sitting 11th, a lap down. So it goes to show you the caliber of this league, that you can still be a lap down in the top 10 and still the hard charger of the race, or close to it there. It's just interesting to see, with the different styles of driving and the different tactics these guys take week in and week out.
Most definitely. And now I do have to give a credit for those guys who are right now like multiple laps down and still right now hanging in there. One in particular guy I do have to give a shout out to is the 22 of Stephen Buonamo. He is currently 14 laps down and he is still holding on right now, just trying to out there and tick down some laps.
Yeah, not too shabby here about the 22 Chevrolet. He's trying to get a little something going here, just not his night, fortunately. Actually, next week will be, I would say, everybody's night. I believe we head to Talladega, and that super speedway track, I hope the best for everybody. I would probably say, Douglas, it is uneventful. There are no wrecks. A pit stop last time separated the field. I believe the top 4 broke away, and that was it. The top 4 drove away with the race, and the rest of the field couldn't seem to get clumped together, and a caution's out.
Oh, man. Did I tell you about a game changer? Guess what, people? The game has just changed.
Caution and do guys pit. I'm telling you, it is a mistake if these guys don't come down pit. I'm telling you. Right now, Jonathan Jennings may throw it away if he comes down pit, or he may throw it away if he doesn't come down pit. But it's showing that Chris Leftwich had a problem out on the track. Let's see what happened to him out there. Oh. Whoa. Slight touch on the paint, and it breaks him loose. Holy cow. I mean, obliterates him. Both fenders, the hood, breaks the left front toe link. Hopefully he's all right. Holy cow.
Car is definitely junk. I think he will be done for the night. And what we tell you about pit stops? Guess what? Our leaders are just coming down pit road.
Yep, Jonathan Jennings, Andrew St. Coeur sitting down pit road now. What do? Do they take tires? I would probably, like I said, it is suicide not to. So they got to squeak back out there right now. Fastest on the track. Remember, Andrew St. Coeur was fast. Kevin Thompson was fast. Jacob Reeves was fast. So right now, your top 5, now I would say have engulf kind of a mulligan here. These guys have one more chance. And right now, if you remember the beginning of the race, this is going to be an awesome run. Seeing they're probably going to be back under green with 10 laps left to go. How do they fare? How do they get this back? How do they keep this run going here? Because now 4 fresh tires, they don't have time to let them heat up. They don't have time to seat them in. These are not the qualifying tires that have been scuffed. I mean, these are brand new sticker tires on here. What happens next? I mean, right now we are looking at, I believe, is showing Gary Clune to have the lead here. Jonathan Jennings is second, Wilkerson is third, and St. Coeur is fourth. But a couple of drivers probably going to work their way down pit here, just trying to see if they can squeak on through. A couple of drivers will get the wave around. Clune working his way down pit, and what an insane change of events here.
And talk about an insane change of events. I will tell you one driver that it definitely had a change of events for. That will be the 21 of Kevin Thompson. Thompson ended up coming out almost close towards the back of the field, and I'm actually watching why Kevin Thompson is right now in the back of the field. It looks like that when we were under caution just trying to slow up for the pace car, Kevin Thompson ended up getting into the back of Jonathan Jennings and spun out under caution.
That he did. Jonathan Jennings was slowed up for the pace car, and I don't think the 21 responded in time here. I mean, this is... I'm not going to point fingers, but right now this almost just seems like a teammate throw here. Yeah, you see the front tires lock up there right toward the end. I wonder if he thought he was still chasing it down. A little communication over the radio might have helped with that one. Kevin Thompson, heavy front end damage. So that makes me wonder, Jonathan Jennings, is there any damage to the rear of that machine? Everything looks pretty straight as we've got some drone footage out there. The number 91 looks to be unscathed from this one. Kevin Thompson might have some damage to the front end of his machine. Looks like it squared it away. There is no fast repairs here, but it looks like he might have checked up just enough to avoid any sort of damage to his machine, as he will now be starting all the way back in 7th.
Only thing I could tell you is I can only imagine what he's saying and thinking right now.
Pace car lights are out. That means the wave rounds begin. Drivers are going to go ahead and get on around. They'll be getting up to the back of the field here. Christopher Simon being one of those drivers getting up there. Tim Henderson, and I believe Daniel Wilkerson. I think he ended up getting the lucky dog. So Wilkerson will be on the lead lap. Henderson working his way around. So is Christopher Simon. All right. That's going to double stack our field with Andrew St. Cour on the outside and Jonathan Jennings starting on the inside. This, I don't know why. I hate seeing cautions, but for some reason, I wanted this. I wanted this really bad, that these drivers now all clumped together and they're going to say, go, and do it again. I love this.
You know what they say, cautions bring cautions. It's not done yet. We still got 10 laps to go. Anything can happen in 10 laps here.
Oh, yeah. Hothead Jacob Reeves sitting 4th on that outside line with Kevin Powell. The two of those guys have been duking it out all night. That's going to be an interesting run. Can Kevin Thompson, he's going to be trying to get around Clune, Beck, and Samia to at least get a top 5 finish here. So, boy, Twisted Axle, this is going to be an interesting run for these guys if they're going to be able to fire on through. But let's get this one back under green as the pace car comes down pit road. Fans are on their feet with 10 laps left to go here. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and let's get her going. Jonathan Jennings here on the inside and Andrew St. Cour outside. Fantastic start there by Jonathan Jennings, now onto the front. His brother Kevin Powell following behind him, following behind Jennings now. Can he catch up? I don't know if Andrew St. Cour can get down, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. And Douglas, so right now we got guys shuffling all over the field.
It's definitely go time now for a lot of these people. If you want to make something happen, you got to make it happen now, because time is running out for a lot of these drivers, as we got almost 3 wide action for the lead, as right now Kevin Powell trying to make something happen on the inside. But here comes Andrew St. Cour giving Jonathan Jennings, it looks like a little bit of push going into turn 1. Oh, checks up a little bit. All 3 drivers catching the wall, and everybody is shuffling out here. Patrick, this is definitely getting interesting.
Yeah, caution's going to be coming out. Mike Samia. Contact here with Beck. Gets hammered here. Nate Orlowski goes and wipes out a couple of the drivers here. Holy cow, that was insane. There was contact between, it looked like Beck and Samia back here. And the two of them were sliding down the backstretch as we watched Jennings and Andrew St. Cour make contact here. The two of these guys did the exact same thing. Notice how that wall kind of turned into a magnet. It catches everybody here. So Jennings, St. Cour, Jacob Reeves with a couple sparks. 6 trying to hold it. 3 of Mike Samia rotates up into the 6. And look at Kevin Thompson here in the 21. He's going to try to slice under this mess. Uh-oh. Wonder if Beck was trying to pull off the wall there. And I think the one that really kind of puts the dagger in it here is watching Beck. Boom!
Oof.
So Beck may have been able to survive that one, but the toe link is broken in the right rear. Driver's going to be out of the race. It's Gary Armijo, Joey Beck, and I think Nate Orlowski will be out of the race on this one. If he's able to return, I would be extremely surprised if he's able to come back from that one. So a lot of drivers tangled up. And, Douglas, I got to say, how dare you? You said cautions breed cautions. I needed this one to be to the end. Not wipe out 3 drivers, man.
Hey, I always say, it's not over until it's over. Everything can change in the matter of a blink.
All right, well, hopefully it's still PC, and maybe we can celebrate when the fat lady sings. But right now, we were talking earlier about Kevin Thompson needing a top 5 finish. Well, look at where Kevin Thompson ends up. I mean, a couple bang-ups there in front of him. Top 5 he's going to get. So now he's got Reeves and his teammate, Andrew St. Cour. Wow. Talk about a shuffle up here. But I've got to admit, during that run, very interesting to see Andrew St. Cour actually push Jonathan Jennings in front of Kevin Powell. I mean, that was an interesting move and an interesting call.
Definitely was an interesting call. Definitely something we might have to find out if one of these drivers gets a podium position tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, kind of what makes you make that decision. Right now, Jonathan Jennings has been one of the faster guys on the track. Kevin Powell is maybe trying to get a short burst of speed and get out front. I mean, right now he was blazing out there with a 30.08. I mean, he was smoking around the track those last couple of turns. But it's interesting to see St. Cour push Jonathan Jennings out to the lead and fall back down to third before the caution came out. I was very kind of beside myself here, but I would looking back at it now, this is perfect. Jonathan Jennings may be starting on the inside line, allowing Andrew St. Cour to get the jump here. He may be able to get a good jump starting on the inside line as well and already fight underneath Kevin Powell back for that second spot.
Yes, most definitely. And you also have to note this. On this next restart, this inside line is going to be so strong, I don't think anybody's going to even compete with it. Because think about it. On the inside, you're going to have Jonathan Jennings, who is staying in spot number 1. You've got Andrew St. Cour, who is in spot number 3. And then, take a wild guess who's in spot number 5? Kevin Thompson. That is like probably one of the strongest inside lines that you can probably have here at the Doghouse Racing League.
Yeah. Checking back out there in the chat, Michael Smashma saying, my car is done. It was a fun race. This is probably one of the most competitive races I've seen here in the Doghouse Racing League, especially for a 1.5 mile cookie cutter. This is fantastic. You know, this isn't like a Kentucky or a Kansas driveway here. We got guys, literally smashing each other into the wall. Not on purpose, but, rubbin's racing. But it's guys are finding multiple grooves and trying to make it work for them and really getting it going here. But, Timmy, I see you out there in the chat. Remember, I didn't forget about you. I see you up there toward the top saying, let's go racing. And that Rubbin is racing, so I'm going to give you the credit for that. Driver's going to be side by side on this one. Notice how Jennings took the outside line.
Yes. I probably know exactly why he's doing it. Remember what I said later in the race. The outside line is going to be what the difference is going to be. Why? Because it may not be the preferred line when it comes to grip, but the burst of speed that you get coming out of the corners, that's probably what Jonathan Jennings is hoping for, is that big, humongous run he's going to get off the exit of the corners.
Both Jennings and St. Cour were making contact with the wall before the caution came out. Interesting to see Jonathan Jennings. I would say this is a teammate move. Jennings is going to get a jump here. And Kevin Powell might sandbag this start and leave St. Cour hanging. This could be a way, because right now, notice how Twisted Axle Racing sitting 3, 4, and 6. Right there, the 12, the 21, and the 11 all clumped together. So this might be another run at it here. So let's see what they can give us here as the green flag is back out, hopefully for the final time. Jennings, fantastic start. Look how Powell sandbagging a little bit there, and now St. Cour extremely off pace here. Having to slide up to the top line, allowing Kevin Thompson to slide underneath of him, and Jacob Reeves back down to 5th. So not too good. I'm wondering if Kevin Powell is going to try to turn into a wall here and not let anybody by and let Jennings just drive away with this one.
Definitely, and time is running out for a lot of these drivers as right now. Jonathan Jennings is probably liking what he is seeing in his rearview mirror, side-by-side action racing. But look at the battle heating up for spot number 2 between Kevin Thompson and Kevin Powell. It looks like I told you, side-by-side racing like this early, if you want to make something happen, you have to make it now. But with making that move with about 2 laps to go, you have to wonder, will Kevin Thompson have enough time to catch Jonathan Jennings? As it looks like it will be a game changer again, because we got another caution on the racetrack.
Gary Clune is off the track to number 11. May have gotten in a bit of a tangle up here. And our first green-white checker will be coming out here of the night. I was going to say, you know, if there's somebody that might be able to catch Jonathan Jennings, remember earlier in the race, Kevin Thompson might be the man to do it. So let's check out and see what happened to Gary Clune here. Oh, tell me it's not Wall. Yep, Wall. Jacob Reeves. Clink. Man. Gotta kind of think, you know, what happens here is this turn is really coming up to bite as we're taking a ride along here with Jacob Reeves. Right there. Makes that contact, and you got to kind of steer through it when somebody makes contact. Unfortunately, it does sometimes look like, you know, you turn somebody around instead of kind of taking the hit and rolling on with the punches. But sometimes you got to kind of, I don't know about you, Douglas, sometimes you got to turn it to the right a little bit and finish their spin for them to actually save yourself.
Right, definitely. And I had a couple of saves myself, but I mean, basically just controlling these cars is really, really hard, especially when loose conditions like that happen. But right now, I think all these drivers are just they're just anxious to try and get as many positions as they can, because we're going to be coming to a green-white checkered. So we're going to be seeing a lot of crazy calls by a couple of these drivers, and got to make something happen if they're going to get a win tonight.
Gary Clune looks like he may have been able to save that race car. Hopefully he's able to get back out onto the track. Christopher Simon decided to come down pit as well here on lap 119. The 27 Toyota, he'll be starting back in the 9th position. Back there, I believe, around the Bill Gentry and Gary Armijo area. A couple of drivers who have been laps down. Oh, no! Whoops. Dang. Oh, Christopher Simon finding out those fresh tires are pretty slick out there. Makes a little contact with the back wall. Man, he's going to hate that we caught that on the broadcast. Dang. Holy cow. Well, both red, white, and blue machines, a Ford and the Chevy, will be starting 1 and 2. Interesting to see that Kevin Thompson trying to bring this one back to life. It would be interesting to see if, man, I'm trying to think of the lineup here as the pace car lights remain on here. What happens next? You know, how's this lineup? If Jennings takes the outside again, Thompson piles on the bottom. But that also puts Kevin Powell behind Thompson, and that puts St. Cour behind Jennings. So it kind of shuffles it up. It would be interesting to see if Twisted Axle can get lined up. And the other, you know, the other drivers, they're from Elite Southern Motorsports can get lined up. So, man, definitely a lot of things to throw in here, and I'm interested to see how all this boils down. I mean, Douglas, right now, you know, as a driver, what goes through your mind here, you know, before we get back on the green?
Just pretty much what goes through your head is just making it back to the start and finish line, and just hope it plays good for you. I mean, Jonathan Jennings has gotten this far with leading the whole entire race. Now we just got to see what the game plan is going to be for some of these guys right now here in the top 5. Right now, our top 5 is currently listing as follows: Jonathan Jennings in spot number 1, Kevin Thompson in spot number 2, Kevin Powell sitting in spot number 3, Andrew St. Cour sitting in spot number 4, and Jacob Reeves will be rounding out our top 5. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys are going to end up doing this restart. But of course, it looks like Jonathan Jennings once again will be taking the inside line, or outside line, I should say, excuse me.
Yep, probably a good call, seeing how his last restart was. 103 laps were completed in this race. These guys have been racing for at least an hour before their first hiccup, and involved Chris Leftwich on 104. And Kevin Thompson had a little trouble there on 107, so it looks like we're about the same time. Then we had a caution back on lap 112 involving Mike Samia and Joey Beck. And then the last yellow flag that involved Gary Clune, and unfortunately, I think they extended it one more lap there on the pace because Christopher Simon may have given that back wall a little kiss. He didn't like that there was no paint on that wall, so he went ahead and fixed that for the track crew, and they're going to be fixing that up. Looks like driver trying to catch back up to the pack here. I believe that is Joey Beck. Looks like he is back out on the track after a little scuffle out there. He's been down pit road 6 times here tonight trying to put that car back together, so it looks like it's semi-drivable, but let's see how the front goes. Jennings will be lining up next to Thompson, and St. Croix will be lining up next to Powell. We got 3 laps left to go. Green-white checkered will be in effect here. Pace car heading off. Boy, oh boy, this could be a good run as we got our last chance here. Jennings, off he goes as he takes away that restart zone. Great jump here. St. Croix going to take advantage of it as well. Onto the outside, he is now pushing Jonathan Jennings out to the lead and is trying to make separation with the rest of the field. Right now, Kevin Powell with a terrible restart here has left his teammate hanging out to dry as the Twisted Axle Racing team is flying away with this one, sitting 2 and 3, but Jennings still leads it here. What happens next is what we're going to see. 2 laps left to go here, Douglas, and it's looking pretty good.
Is looking very good. White flag will be in the air, and we are still having a heated battle for spot number 2. Andrew St. Croix looks like he is going to settle back into spot number 2. Kevin Thompson will be staying in spot number 3. And will Andrew St. Croix have enough to get a hold of Jonathan Jennings on this last stretch? If he's got to make something happen, it's got to be now. Right now, trying to get into the corner, gain a little bit of momentum. It looks like it's not going to be enough. Checker flags in the air. The winner here at Charlotte, it will go to Jonathan Jennings. Andrew St. Croix will sit in spot number 2, and rounding out the podium position will be Kevin Thompson.
Man, you want to talk about fast times. Andrew St. Croix hit his fastest time of a 29.9. He was the fastest on the track all night with that turn. I mean, that was insane. That was the fastest lap on the track, was that last lap there by Andrew St. Croix with a 29.9. Jonathan Jennings with a 29.96. Both of them really gave it their all, hitting their fastest times of the night for 1 and 2. Makes you question sometimes how they weren't doing that the whole race or the last one, but I would probably say that last caution kind of outdid him here, and Jonathan Jennings is going to take home another win here.
That's Jonathan Jennings. Congratulations to him. Will be taking home another trophy tonight as he is burning it down here on the front straightaway. And let's go over some of the other finishers that we currently have as well. So Jonathan Jennings will pick up the number 1 spot. Andrew St. Croix finishes in spot number 2. Spot number 3 will go to Kevin Thompson. Spot number 4 will go to Kevin Powell, and Jacob Reeves will round out our top 5. Daniel Wilkerson will be in spot number 6. Tim Henderson in spot 7. Christopher Simon in spot number 8. Great rebound by him. Gary Armijo will be staying in spot number 9, and rounding out the top 10 will be the 34 of Bill Gentry.
Man, what a great race this was. Everybody, hold on just a moment. Let's try to track down our top 3, and this is going to be a great conversation. Hold on just a moment, guys. We'll be right back. everybody, we are catching up to our third place finisher, Kevin Thompson. Man, what a ride this was here tonight. Talk to me a little bit about the entirety of this race for you.
It went all downhill at the end when I got into Jonathan Jennings under caution. My power flickered, and I just had damage after that. So I just fought my way back to third, and I'll take it.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of that contact. Fortunately, it didn't look like it damaged either one of you two. Talk to me about kind of mid-race here before we get your shout-outs. You were so fast. You reeled in almost a 5-second gap there on Andrew St. Cour. Kind of what was the key to being, just having that kind of speed so late in the run?
Yeah, the main thing I was doing was just saving tire because I knew I had a really good car in the long run. If I didn't, I was going. The car went tight, and at the end, well, during pit stops, I didn't have enough time to reach down and change and give me take some wedge out of the car. So it got tight at the end of the run, but during middle of the run, early of the run, I was just saving tire.
Man, what a fantastic run it was here tonight. We were going to see how well you can do at Talladega. I know pit strategy is going to be a huge factor, and hopefully we see Twisted Axle Racing do a fantastic job at that track as well. Give me your shout-outs.
Shout out to y'all calling this race every week, Daniel for putting it on, and my family that watches.
Alrighty, man. Oh, your family watches the broadcast?
Yes.
All right. Sweet. Appreciate it, Kevin. We'll see you next week, my man.
Yeah, you too.
Alrighty, that's going to do it for our third place finisher, catching up with Andrew St. Cour. This has been a fantastic run here. Andrew St. Cour, this race, did it go your way or did it not go your way? Talk to me a little bit here.
Started not to be a little disappointed. Probably more disappointed in myself and a couple adjustments that I had made. More so the first pit stop adjustment that I made. I ended up, I tried to loosen it, and it was just, and then I tried to adjust my line a little bit, kind of run what Jennings was running, kind of keep an eye on what he was doing, and then I just got too loose. I couldn't hang on to the rear end. And then I don't know. It just it was a tough one. It was a grind. I'll put it that way. I felt really good early. I wasn't pushing early. I felt like I was saving my stuff. Kevin had a really good, end of that first run. And I tried to short pit them, which I did, and was able to gain some track time or track position. And then they just chased me down because of that. I blame it on the adjustment that I made. I think Jennings did a really good job tonight keeping ahead of the adjustments to really make his car better throughout the run. And so really hats off to him for a really good run.
Talk to me about the call you had before the final caution to actually push Jonathan Jennings in front of Kevin Powell's run there. Talk to me through that strategy call.
I think, that was the one that I started on the outside, and Kevin Powell was behind Jennings. Yeah, so, evidently they were working together on that restart to get a good jump for Kevin as well. And I just had to, honestly, I didn't lift going into one. I was full throttle out of two. Jennings was up in front of me. I just tried to push him down that back stretch, and then we continued. I think I even tried to get a nose between them coming off four through 3 and 4, and I just kind of backed out of it a little bit because I just didn't think that was going to work out. I knew Jennings was quicker than Powell, so I didn't follow Powell into turn 1 on that next lap. I stayed high and went with Jennings. I think that's what happened. And then I had a really good run off on the high side, and Powell kind of moved low. And I don't know whether he moved low because he got loose or he moved low thinking I was going to shoot low when I came off the high side. I'm not really sure. But it just gave me a really good run, and then I was able to get into the back of Jennings, but I knew I didn't have enough room on my inside to clear Powell, if that makes any sense. So I was kind of stuck in the middle. And then on entry into 3 on that next turn, that's when the caution came out and Powell had a nose on me. So yeah, it was really interesting. We were talking over the race chat about how fun that was, and it really was a lot of fun. being able to race that clean, that hard at the end, and everybody was being respectful, and it was that's what we're here for, right? So
Yeah, I gotta admit, the entire race, I mean, I enjoyed the race. I think, I mean, honestly, I hate seeing you guys get cautions, but that one at 104 was fantastic. I mean, for timing wise, to clump you guys back together and give everybody another chance or another shootout there. But yeah, the two of when Powell and Jennings were trying to pass each other, and you just kind of came up and gave Jennings that nudge and pushed him just in front before the caution came out was really an interesting call. But we head to Talladega next week. Give me a little insight. You know what the Twisted Axle Racing team's looking to do.
well, I think it'll be important that the three of us try to work together. And we have another fellow in our Discord now, Nicholas Atwood, who unfortunately had some issues with his internet today and had to drop. And he's new to the league, and we're just trying to help him out as well. And so we'll get some practice in this week. Not that there's a whole lot you can do at Talladega to prepare, other than just trying to work together, pit strategies, that sort of stuff, and having a couple other guys going in pit road with you on a green flag run obviously is important. Um, and yeah, and really it's the luck of the draw, but we got to try to set ourselves up to finish finish the race first of all, and hopefully, even if we get in the top five, top 10 might even be a win for, his Talladega, right? So we're just really happy right now, Kevin and I, with really the season so far. We're hanging in there. Um, and we've got a couple good tracks ahead of us, and we got a couple that we know we're probably not that strong at. So if we can keep these top five finishes going, we should be in a good spot come the end of the season. So yeah, that's pretty well it.
All right, man. Shout out time.
Oh yeah, of course. BMAC. Got to shout out to BMAC.
Yeah.
And obviously my teammates. We put in some practice there this week, which was awesome to get ready for this. And shout out to yourselves for putting this on. And honestly, it wouldn't be as exciting if we didn't have a broadcast and didn't have something to go back and watch after. So I look forward to that. And Daniel and the admins. So thank you very much.
Not a problem, man. I think this is probably one of our best ones, especially with some of the best racing out there. Andrew St. Kerr, congratulations on your second place finish. We'll catch up with you next week, my man.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
Yep. All righty, and it looks like Douglas Ross is catching up with Jonathan Jennings, a race winner here tonight, man, and boy, he deserved it. Jonathan Jennings, go ahead and take it, Douglas.
Yes, and I am standing by with Jonathan Jennings, probably the most dominant car all night, leading most of the laps. Jonathan, I gotta tell you, tonight was definitely the race that you've been wanting. You probably led most of the laps out there, and the strategy calls going in and off of pit road. I gotta tell you, it probably played out in your favor tonight. Did it play out in the favor that you wanted it to?
Oh, I mean, we're in victory lane, but that was a great race in all race. I didn't do nothing special with my strategy. I just tried to base it off what those guys were doing and tried not to burn my tires up.
And definitely, you definitely were one of the favorites when it came to the starts as well, because mostly when we had these caution flags, you were definitely the most dominant car when it came to the restarts and all that. Did you just have the restarts timed right, or were you just waiting for the right moment, hopefully to catch someone sleeping to get to the front?
Well, being the control car is very important, a very big advantage on these restarts. So yeah, um, I mean, I just try not to do like I did last time we were here. I think I spun out when we took the green in front of the whole field, and I didn't want to make that mistake again, so I went kind of conservative on the restarts.
Right. Well, we're leaving Charlotte now. We are heading into next week, which is going to be the Talladega Super Speedway, a track where pretty much almost every single car in the field can be dominant. Let me ask you, Talladega one of the favorite tracks you going to?
Never, no, no. Actually, I don't think I'll even be present at that race. I'm going on vacation. So.
Oh, all right. Well,
What
we
terrible
might see
news.
you. Yeah, that
What
is terrible news.
absolutely terrible news. Jennings, that is not what I want to hear here, buddy.
Yeah, I know it sucks, but I'm trying to get it pushed back just half a day will help. But I'm
I'll,
outnumbered 6 women to 1 dude. Ain't
You
real
might
good
be
numbers.
racing alone.
Yeah.
hey, well, congratulations on the win again tonight, bud. Give us your shout outs.
You guys for the broadcast, Daniel and all the admins for all they do to put these things going, and Andrew and Thompson and my brother there at the end for the great racing.
He's
That was
dominant
fun.
tonight. He's dominant tonight, picking up the #1 spot, the most dominant car all night. Jonathan Jennings, once again, congratulations on your first place finish tonight. And we're heading into Talladega next week. Patrick, back to you.
Appreciate it, Jonathan. All right, and definitely, Douglas, man, what a race this was here. And, man, you know, as fast as Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Powell are each and every week, it'd be interesting to see something on one of the side of their cars, you know, like JK setup shops. Yeah, see, I'm going to note that one, and I'm going to take full ownership if they decide to do it. But they have been fantastic here each and every week. Everybody, that is going to do it here for our broadcast tonight. What a blast it was here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So many drivers with so many opportunities, but opportunities will all come next week at Talladega Super Speedway, and definitely is going to be a wild one, seeing how many drivers can split away from the pack, or will they stay clumped up. So we'll keep an eye out, guys. Not an off week next week. We'll be at Talladega Super Speedway for the Simtrax Broadcasting 175. But from all of us here at Simtrax, Douglas Ross and Patrick Morrison here, we bid you all adieu and goodbye, and we'll tell you all you guys next time. So be well, be safe, be kind. See y'all.